Hello, happy weekend. It is the Unash Dukes podcast coming your way here on YouTube, on our Unash Dukes podcast YouTube page. And you can find us there, probably the best place to do so, or you can go to crmlivesports.com. Just click on the icon at the top left of the page and subscribe to us. We're getting more and more people each and every day to do that. And we thank you one and all for doing that. Scott Unash, Mark Dukes, big thanks to Emo's Hideaway, our presenting sponsor on First Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids, right across from the Lindale Mall next to the Home Depot, helping us out. We do appreciate that, as well as the contributions of our other great sponsors, Hunt Graphic Innovations, where it's a personal touch that counts, Dr. John Woolner at Epiphany Dermatology, as well as Bim Ritter Sportswear, downtown Cedar Rapids at 817 2nd Avenue Southeast, and Kurt Gustafson Agency of American Family Insurance, Johnson Avenue Northwest in Cedar Rapids. We look forward to a big weekend. But before that, and before we talk about Mark's Chicago Bears and a bitterly cold NFC divisional playoff game that's going to be coming up this weekend. Happy, Mark, happy final portal day to you and everybody out there.
Yeah, you as well. The transfer portal closes at midnight tonight, and it doesn't mean that recruiting is over, but once again, it's been an interesting period of time, and we've seen it close to home with Iowa State losing 50 some players when Matt Campbell left for Penn State, and now Jimmy Rogers has done a pretty good job of replenishing that roster. I think it's close to 50 players he's lined up. We're going to need a program next fall for certain. And Iowa has been more active than it has been in the past. And a lot of these players, well, some are stopgap measures, 1 year guys like Gronkowski was last year for Iowa. But looking through some of the players, more and more have multiple years to get to their schools. Doesn't mean they'll be at that school multiple years, but it's an interesting process. And I said the other day, there's like over 3,000 FBS players in the portal, and only two-thirds of them are going to find a home. And I often wonder about the other one-third. Now they're going to, FCS schools and junior colleges and whatnot, but the grass isn't going to be greener for them.
All told, since the start of this 2 weeks ago, more than 10,000 athletes have put their name into the portal.
Well,
10,000 when you put everything together. Everything.
football and other sports.
Well, no, just football. I mean, at every level, not just D1, not just the power fours.
That must be high schools too.
Well,
Hmm.
you're not that far off. But and you're right. A lot of these guys are not going to end up where they want to. And listen, it all comes down to there needs to be some sort of legislation to this thing. There is going to be some. The period is going to be moving. I believe I read that if that is a basketball situation to after the national championship, after the tournament is done. I think football is going to have that same situation as well, where they're not going to have the portal until after the national or the football championship playoff championship game in coming years. That's the way it should be. Kurt Signetti should not be trying to fill transfer portal needs during the prep time for a national championship game. I mean, that just should not be the case. These guys have enough going on in their plates. And yes, they have deep staffs. I get it, but just move it back a little bit before spring games, before spring practice starts. So you know exactly who you have. And then after spring, you're going to lose another two or three players. But I don't know. We need to have a legislation. We need to have a commissioner. We got to have something. The two sports, if you can put college athletics, big time college football and college basketball under one umbrella, I don't know. They have no legislation. Major League Baseball has legislation, and they're in worse shape with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Why are we playing a baseball season?
I don't know. The clearly one thing that needs to change in college football and basketball, I suppose, is the calendar. You know, have you heard anybody talk this week about the national championship game?
No.
No, it's next Monday, and nobody's talking about Indiana and Miami. It's such an elongated thing that partly because of the NFL playoffs this weekend and other college sports, but I have not heard one person talk about the Indiana Miami game, which may not be much of a game. Maybe be a good game, I don't know, but nobody's talking about it. We're talking about the transfer portal and next year and years beyond right now. So the calendar needs to be changed, and there's no one central person or organization taking the lead on that.
No, you're right. And there hasn't been much talk. And I think a lot of it has to do with the National Football League. I mean, you take a look at just about every sports outlet and what's on the front page. You can find Indiana, Miami 2 or 3 stories down, but it's about okay, can the Buffalo Bills go on the road and beat the Denver Broncos? Can Josh Allen win another playoff road game? Can the Bears keep it rolling? Can Brock Purdy go into Seattle and beat the number one seeded Seahawks?
Yeah.
Those are the things you're reading right now. You're not reading thing one unless you look for it about the national championship game. So maybe that's something that needs to be addressed. Probably does. I know you're not in favor of a Monday night championship game, but that's what we have. And we'll talk more about that on Monday. I'm looking forward to it. I know that. I think it's going to be a little bit better game than people think, but I've been wrong before.
Yeah, it could be. I think Indiana's favored by 8 or 8.5 points, but it almost has to be on Monday when you think about it because of the NFL being on Saturday and Sunday. They're not going to clash with the NFL. The NFL is king, and it's just not going to happen. So it has to be on a Monday.
At least it's a little Monday night football for us. The final one of
Yeah,
the year. Final one of the year. You mentioned the portal. Iowa State, I think Jimmy Rogers did a really good job. He didn't go out. These are not your top of the line portal guys. I think even Iowa State fans would admit to that. He got a lot of Washington State guys to follow him. There are Division II guys. There are other D1 transfers, obviously. Uh, FCS, a lot of those coming into Ames, but you had to get bodies in there for Iowa State. And who knows? Nobody thought Kurt Signetti in Indiana was going to be as good as they were 2 years ago with all the James Madison people. Now that's a FBS team and a pretty good FBS team, but still nobody was giving any credit to the Duke players, the former Dukes coming in there to the Big Ten. And maybe Coach Rogers will pull off something like that at Iowa State. Maybe not to the high extent that Indiana and the Hoosiers did, but again, keep in mind Iowa State's schedule, at least looking at it based on last year, is doable again in the Big 12 next year. You mentioned Iowa. This is the biggest crop that Iowa's ever had going through the transfer portal. And they did lose 4 players, brought in approximately, 2021 or so. I'd have to go back and look for sure as far as high school recruits are concerned. But 27 seniors, 4 more leaving through the transfer portal. So that's 31 that left the Iowa football team from last year. You put the 11 that came in so far through the transfer portal with that high school recruiting class, and you're basically breaking even right now. So I think that's why Kirk Ferentz and his staff went out and got the players that they did and got some good ones. There's still a little bit of a hole at the punting position right now. I'm not sure if that's going to get rectified by the time the clock strikes midnight tonight, but we shall see. And Iowa picked up some pretty good players. L.J. Phillips Jr., the running back out of South Dakota, one of the top running backs in FCS football. That was a big one. Hawkins from Villanova, the defensive back, very, very good. The kicker from North Dakota State, I think is going to step in. Might not be Drew Stevens like, but I think it's going to help. And then two really good wide receivers that, yes, played at lower levels with Evan James from Furman and Tony Diaz from UTRGV, University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. I think they're going to help a little bit. So I was banking on some transfers to fill some needs next year.
Yeah, for Iowa's class is interesting, class of portal transfers, that is, because none of them are from Power Four conferences. You've got the Texas Rio Grande Valley and James Madison and Northern Illinois and Elon and Holy Cross and places like that. Jimmy Rogers at Iowa State, he's gone that route too, but he's also got some Power Four transfers. Just picked up a defensive back from Arkansas, I believe. So, it's always a question of whether these guys' talents transfer to the Big Ten level, the Power Four level. LJ Phillips sounds like a wonderful back. 1,900 yards at South Dakota last year. He didn't do anything against Iowa State in that game last year, only carried the ball 4 times, but had a wonderful year. But Iowa's with Kamari Moulton and McNeil, Iowa's got a pretty good set of running backs to start the season. So what it tells me is that Kirk Ferentz and staff are feel comfortable with the quarterbacks in camp. Did not go out and get a quarterback. So we're probably going to see Hecklinski or Hank Brown at the helm next year. But the two wide receivers are interesting. But once again, this Texas Rio Grande Valley transferred to Iowa.
Hawks have a new special teams coordinator. They hired somebody that was on staff on the defensive side of the ball. The former defensive analyst, Chris Polizzi, will be taking over as the special teams coordinator. Big shoes to fill for that gentleman with LeVar Woods and what he did and what he accomplished. Now the associate head coach and special teams coach at Michigan State. So first thing he's got to do, like I said, is find somebody to punt the ball. Of course, if everybody goes for it on 4th and 2, anywhere on the field, you don't need to have a punter. But that's the way. I think sometime during the season, you're probably going to have to punt the football.
Well, of all the teams in college football, Iowa is among those that have really made a living off special teams, whether it be punting, kicking, returning. Two-time Jet Award winner in Caden Weechin. We saw, Cooper DeJean back there. So, yeah, it's going to be tough shoes to fill. But the coaches often talk about 3 phases of the game, and one of those is special teams. It's been very, very important for Iowa. So we'll see what this guy can do.
Yeah, big shoes to fill, as we mentioned. It is the Unash Dukes podcast coming your way. Thank you very much for viewing and or listening. And big thanks to Emil's Hideaway, 1st Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids, right across from the Lindale Mall and next to the Home Depot. They're your home for the best tasting American food around. And they also have a fully stocked bar, offer catering. And big thanks to all of the people over there, as well as our other great sponsors, American Family Insurance agent Kurt Gustafson on Johnson Avenue Northwest in Cedar Rapids, Hunt Graphic Innovations, where it's the personal touch that counts with Todd Hunt, and does a great job with our CRMLivesports.com website. Gary and the staff at Bim Ritter Sportswear, downtown Cedar Rapids, 817 2nd Avenue Southeast, and online at bimritter.com, your one-stop store for screen print and embroidery for anything you need. And also a big thanks to Dr. John Woolner at Epiphany Dermatology on Council Street Northeast in Cedar Rapids. Get your skin checked out. Make an appointment. Give John a call. He's got over 30 years of experience, and he is He's the best, bar none, on Council Street Northeast. All right, Mark. Chicago Bears. You got to wait till Sunday for the Bears and the Rams. The weather forecast does not look good. Wind chills in the negative numbers. Could be some snow blowing around Soldier Field. That's bear weather. You got to love that, right? With the LA Rams playing in beautiful, sunny SoCal in SoFi Stadium coming into the elements. You got everything but Brock Dieter pulling into Chicago this week.
Or Dieter Brock, however.
Dieter Brock. I'm sorry. What did I say Brock Dieter for?
Because it sounds better. I don't know. But you know what? I said a week ago, it's gravy for the Bears fan like me. But the closer it gets to that NFC Championship game, or even, should I say, the
No,
Super
no,
Bowl,
don't do it. Don't do it.
every step gets closer to, the ultimate prize. But I still view it as gravy for the Bears. I think it's a big advantage, obviously, in these weather conditions. Matt Stafford, has played his whole career either in a dome or in nice weather, except for road games. He's a wonderful quarterback, but I think Chicago really needs to take advantage of the weather, needs to take advantage of DeAndre Swift, needs to run the ball. Gassed the Rams last year, the year before, for a bunch of yards on the ground. And it may be that kind of weather that the best team that runs the ball is going to win this football game. But not a lot of people are expecting the Bears to move past this game. But you know what? A lot of people didn't expect them to get past Green Bay either. So why aren't all Midwest fans rooting for the Bears? I mean, you got Buffalo and New England out east. You got the whole NFC West still involved, or three of them anyway. Nobody in the Midwest. You're not going to call Denver Midwest, are you? Or Houston? Nobody in the upper Midwest. Come on, Scott, get on board.
Hey, I think the Bears are going to win.
Mhm.
I think the Bears are going to win this thing. Um, no, I don't know if they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. We'll have to see if they win and who wins the
Going to
game.
Seattle will be tough.
Yeah, San Francisco, Seattle. Those two games tomorrow on Saturday. Uh, about as good as you can get. You mentioned San Francisco and going to Seattle. Third time, much like the Bears and the Packers, it's the third time they're going to meet. I want to see how Seattle is going to look early coming off the bye. Um, Teams have shown a little rust over the years, and that includes my beloved Kansas City Chiefs, uh, who have had byes and have come out slow in the first quarter in the divisional round of the playoffs. Will Denver do that? Will Seattle do that? Does San Francisco can Brock Purdy pull another rabbit out of the hat? I mean, now there's no George Kittle. I mean, they're down to third string and practice squad guys that you have never heard of that are going to be playing in this game in Seattle, going up against the 12th man up there at Quest Field. But I didn't think the 49ers were going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, and they beat Sirianni and the Eagles last week. Short week as well for San Francisco. And Seattle's one of the toughest places to play. I don't see it happening, but like I said, I didn't see the 49ers beating the Eagles either.
San Francisco still has Christian McCaffrey, a heck of a weapon, one of the best in the NFL. And, a lot of these guys have played in the Super Bowl. Missing Kittle and others is going to be big. We'll see what Sam Darnold has for Seattle. He's prone to um, not having great games, but he's also prone to, like last year, he had a heck of a year with the Vikings. So we'll see what Sam Darnold comes out. But apparently, this Seattle defense, and I've seen him a couple times, not often, the Seattle defense is a real deal.
They are. They're very, very good. And like I said, I don't know if the 49ers can pull another rabbit out of their hat, but they're going to make it a close game
Yeah.
because these two teams know each other so well. And they meet twice a year. This will be the third time. And I, I think Seattle wins. but it wouldn't shock me at all. What I'm looking forward to the entire weekend is the first one. Josh Allen at Buffalo going into Mile High to take on the Denver Broncos. This is brand new territory, not for Sean Payton, but it is for Bo Nix and a lot of these Denver Broncos going up against a Buffalo team that is supposed to be there. They were supposed to be at home on their way to the Super Bowl. Josh Allen finally got the monkey off his back and winning a playoff road game last week in Jacksonville. This one's intriguing me, to say the least. And I never thought I'd be rooting for the Buffalo Bills, but here I am.
You are. I was going to ask you got Buffalo and Denver. Which team would a Chiefs fan root for? You're going to go Buffalo. You're rooting for Buffalo.
I got to root for Buffalo.
Why?
It's Denver.
Denver's in your division.
So are the Chargers and the Raiders, and I don't root for them. I will say this to Bronco fans out there and Bronco Nation, of the three other teams, Denver by far is the one I like the most. But
you can't like Buffalo a whole lot either, can you?
Oh, God, no.
Okay. So maybe like some elections, it's the lesser two evils.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna have enough of Denver and the Chargers in the next few years, and then if Mendoza goes to the Raiders, uh, they're gonna get better. So I'm gonna see enough of orange and blue for the
I
next few
suppose.
years.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think Buffalo, like I said last week, I think Buffalo's window is closing a little bit, and I think they have a little bit more urgency to win this football game. I think
I
Josh.
like Bo Nix. I like Bo Nix.
I do too, but I like Josh Allen better.
Mm-hmm.
And can Buffalo score enough points to beat Denver? That's going to be the question with that good Denver defense. And the same thing with the Houston Texans. I love the Houston Texans to get to maybe the Super Bowl with that defense. I mean, they just absolutely shut down Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. That's the best defense in the National Football League. They've got the best pass rushers in the National Football League. I like Houston to go in and beat New England too. Look at all these road teams I'm supporting here. I 2 roadies and 2 homes.
I tell you, New England obviously is one of the best stories in the NFL this season with Mike Vrabel and what they've done out there, and Drake May being quarterback, they're having a heck of a year. I'd too like Houston. Got three former Iowa State receivers, plus Christian Kirk. Pretty good targets for C.J. Stroud. And if they can get the ball moving and score, this defense they were very impressive throughout the season, especially in the first round of the playoffs. So I think that's going to be a terrific matchup too. Going to New England, it's not the easiest place in the world to win.
No, it's not. It's not going to be balmy, I'm sure, in Foxborough either on Sunday.
Yeah.
But did we see Aaron Rodgers last game?
Well, I think we probably saw Mike Tomlin's last game, and I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be in Pittsburgh without Mike Tomlin. Rodgers might show up for another. I think it's time to retire. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He can still do some things, but he's going to be 43 years old. I know Brady was mid 40s, wasn't he, when he hung it up? I don't know. It's just, so where's he going to go?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, where's he going to go? And maybe John Harbaugh will like him in New York, but they got Jackson Dart. So I don't know. I think it's about time for Rodgers to retire, but he's a different bird.
There is really, I mean, you look at all around the 32 teams in the National Football League, and there are about only 2 quarterback openings that I can think of. And Aaron Rodgers is not signing to go hold a clipboard.
No.
So it's either to mentor Fernando Mendoza in Las Vegas for a year. Aaron Rodgers in silver and black? Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, if he's going to go somewhere and play, it's going to be a mentoring situation. Jets again? Um, don't see that really happening. You know,
What more does he
Saint,
have to prove? Well, where's he going to go and win another Super Bowl at
he's
this
not
point?
going to win another Super Bowl.
So
So
what's the
why?
point?
Yeah, what's the point? I think we've seen Aaron Rodgers' last game. Mike Tomlin, I think he's going to come back. Maybe not this year, but I think he will be back on the sidelines coaching in the NFL.
He might be good alongside another Pittsburgh coach, Bill Cowher, on the set of a pregame show. I don't know, but a lot of people threw Tomlin under the bus, and I get it. I did win a Super Bowl, but the postseason has not been good for the Steelers. But I'll tell you what, in the NFL, when you can have a non-losing record for what, 17,
What was
19
that?
straight years,
21, I think.
21, man, that's really saying something. And good luck with the Pittsburgh hire. I mean, they've had, I think, three coaches since I've been alive. That's a long
Chuck,
time.
Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. And yeah, those are mighty big shoes to fill in Pittsburgh. So I like Buffalo. I like Seattle. I like Houston. I like the Bears.
I will take Denver, Seattle, Houston, and the Rams.
Oh, you're not even going to pick the Bears.
It's head versus heart. If I'm a gambler, I'm taking Chicago plus 3.5. If I'm, you know, this Bears luck has to run out sooner or later, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Does it?
Last year, the Chiefs ran out in the Super Bowl, winning all those close games. Uh, we'll find out. We'll find out. I think the weather is going to dictate a lot, and I don't think Matt Stafford is going to like the weather, and I don't think his receivers are going to like the weather up in Chicago. I think that's going to be the big X factor in there. But we do have, by the way, don't maybe we shouldn't say the words betting this week after what happened in college basketball with the big with the big federal story coming out about what 17 college basketball teams that were involved in point shaving, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, it's just, and you know what the funny thing is, Mark? Nobody really is batting an eye about it. They're not talking about the
No,
national championship. They're not talking about this. This was Boston College back in the Tom Davis days. I mean, that's all people talked about. But nope, whatever. Did I lose any money on that? No, I'm okay.
another thing that started in China. These perpetrators started it in the Chinese Basketball League, and pretty soon it got to a few college programs. And, you know, what happens to these players? Happens to these guys that perpetrated the illegal betting? We'll see. But you hate to see it, but I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often.
And it will happen again. It'll happen again many more times. Basketball, football, what have you.
You're not going to get
Speak,
Kyle. You're not going to get Kyle Tucker to throw a game in LA though.
man, baseball. For like 3 days, I felt actually like I wanted to, baseball might be fun this year. And then the Dodgers spent what another 300 gazillion dollars that they won't pay for till 2085. So at any rate, college hoops. Before we go, uh, Iowa showed well against Purdue the other night. Really good showing. Good enough, just good enough to lose at the end when Purdue just went absolutely nuts in the second half, shot 78%, and came from behind to beat the Hawkeyes. Uh, Yes, it was a good showing. Do good showings get you into the NCAA tournament? Nah, probably not. And Iowa, Indiana, I think a lot more winnable than that game at West Lafayette, but still, in what makes it harder for the Hawks is that Indiana needs this game too.
Yeah. After getting beat pretty soundly in the last game, Indiana that is, but Iowa, it fans and even Ben McCollum are not going to be happy with close losses and excellent efforts. But that's what it was against Purdue. Purdue needed every bit of good shooting in the second half. I mean, Iowa led that game for 22 and a half minutes. And it wasn't until the end that Purdue had its largest lead of the game. Uh, Fun, scrappy, better game than I thought it would be. But sooner or later, you got to get over the hump. Granted, Iowa's losses are to four top 15 teams. But if you want to take that next step, you got to win some of those on the road. It's not easy to do, but you have to do that to take the next step.
That's what makes tomorrow a big state of Iowa reunion game between the DeVrieses and the McCullums and other people like that. So
Hmm.
it'll be fun to watch Tucker DeVries again tomorrow, but probably not going to be a whole lot of fun if the Hoosiers come away with a victory. Does any never thought you'd see Indiana as a football school and Nebraska as a basketball school, but here we are in 2026. Those are the things. Those are the cards we are dealt right now. Iowa State goes to Cincinnati. This is not your big brother's Cincinnati Bearcat team. 1-3, started off 0-3 in the Big 12, but it's on the road, and I fully expect Iowa State to bounce back after Tuesday night at Allen Fieldhouse. It's not going to be just show up and win for Iowa State and TJ Otzelberger, but it's not a great Cincinnati team, and it's a chance for Iowa State to get a road win.
No, Cincinnati doesn't have anybody resembling Oscar Robertson, that's for sure. Um, but if Iowa State would have beaten Kansas, I would have felt totally different about this game. I got to imagine Iowa State is going to play much better defense in this game and play closer to its uh, capabilities. It wasn't a great performance against Kansas, but Kansas had a lot to do with that. I expect Iowa State to rebound.
I do too. I think they're going to come away with a win. Iowa women beat Oregon on Thursday night. Michigan State is up next. The schedule really ramps up for Jan Jensen and the Hawkeyes. Man, things are not going well in Ames right now. Yes, there are injuries with Brown. That's a big one. But four in a row that Iowa State has dropped. And I don't know. It's going to be not like Iowa State's in desperate straits at this time, but college coaches are smart. They've done their homework. And without Brown and without a healthy Williams, people are learning how to play against Audie Crooks a little bit more. So Bill Fenley's got his work cut out.
Yeah, he does. The Iowa women, Addie Deal really had a great game last night, and that's only going to help the Iowa women's basketball team. But gosh, 8 Big 10 teams ranked in the top 25 on the women's side. It's just loaded, and Iowa's getting a lot of them in the next few weeks. But Iowa State, I think it is desperate times. Losing four in a row, and what, 3 or 4 losses in the Big 12. Um, it's not a good situation in Ames, and you said it perfectly. Figuring out how to guard Crooks with a couple key injuries. People have figured Iowa State out.
So now the ball's in Bill Fenley's court to figure out how to counter attack all of that. And we'll see if they can do that. How many bouts does Iowa win against Penn State Friday night?
Um, Probably two, three at the most, but could get shut out.
Ooh,
I mean, this might be the best Penn State team of all time. Iowa has not been shut out on the dual meet since 1966. 60 years. And it's a possibility tonight.
That's before I was born. Not much.
66.
September 66.
This happened
Uh,
in January of 66. Yeah.
that's right.
But
That was before I came into
yeah.
that.
So
I
it's a long time.
I think they get two. I think they get two. We'll see. We'll talk more about that with Mark Ironside next Wednesday. And
Yes,
good
we
luck
will.
to him and all the jumpers into the pond at Brown Deer tonight too. It is not balmy outside.
I don't envy him.
I do not. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening, everybody. Big thanks to Emil's Hideaway, our presenting sponsor, as well as Hunt Graphic Innovations, Bib Ritter Sportswear in Cedar Rapids, Kurt Gustafson Agency of American Family Insurance, and Dr. John Woolner at Epiphany Dermatology for all of their support. Have a great weekend, Mark. Good luck to your Bears.
Sounds great. Talk to you Monday.
All right. You've been listening and watching the Unash and Dukes podcast. Thanks, everybody.